Hey guys, Rusty Reckless here with another movie update. Today I will be reviewing some of the Blu-rays and DVDs I got over the past summer. Sorry I've been away for a while, guys. Had a lot of shit going on in my life, a lot of personal stuff. I'm back and I hope I can get this started up. I really enjoy movies. I'm a big fan of owning DVDs and Blu-rays and collecting. But anyway, here we go, guys. First off, I got This Is 40, starring Paul Rudd and Leslie Mann. This is, I think the third or fourth Judd Apatow movie that just recently came out. If you haven't seen my couple videos before, I love Judd Apatow. Freaks and Geeks, you know, Knocked Up, 40-Year-Old Virgin, all those movies. His comedy is so fucking great. I mean, the movies are a little long at times, they're like 2 hours, but this one's pretty good. It's not my favorite. I like, Funny People, Knocked Up, and 40-Year-Old Virgin a little better. It's more of a dramedy, like drama mixed with comedy, I think. But if you haven't seen this, it's basically Paul Rudd and Leslie Mann, and they're from Knocked Up. This is kind of like a sequel to Knocked Up, but not really. I wish Seth Rogen would add like an appearance in it or something, but he didn't, and like Jonah Hill and stuff. But overall, it's a pretty good movie. I'd definitely check it out. Some really funny parts in it. Basically, they're just struggling for their marriage, and he has a record company, and he's trying to like have his try to be a better record company and stuff, but with the economy and stuff, and overall, if you haven't seen this, I give this like a 3 out of 5. It's a pretty good one. This is 40. Next up on the list, The Perks of Being a Wallflower. This is probably one of the best movies of last year. It's a coming-of-age teenage drama / comedy. It's got some comedy in it, and it's basically about the main character right here. He really doesn't fit in at school, and he's kind of a loner, and he hangs out with Emma Watson and her, I think it's her brother. He's a gay dude. He's really funny in this movie. It's really good. It almost reminds you of like old school 80s like coming of age teen movies like The Breakfast Club and stuff like that. Almost like a John Hughes movie. But if you haven't seen The Perks of Being a Wallflower, this is a really good one. I definitely recommend to pick this one up. I think it's Rotten Tomatoes actually said it's certified fresh, and those guys don't really give good reviews on a lot of stuff. But anyway, if you haven't seen this, check it out. Perks of Being a Wallflower. Next up on the list, I got The Devil's Rejects and House of a Thousand Corpses. Now I've got this for like $10 at FYE. During the summer, they had a lot of good DVD and Blu-ray sales going on in a lot of places. Best Buy, FYE, and I picked this up for $10. I mean, if you haven't seen these are two Rob Zombie movies. His first one, House of a Thousand Corpses, and then his second one, Devil's Rejects, which I think these are his best movies. I really liked his remake on Halloween. I mean, for all those horror remakes, I think that was like the best one. I haven't seen The Lords of Salem yet. I'm really interested to see that. I'll probably have that on my next update. Probably next week or so. I'm going to try to be doing these almost every week or 2 weeks now. But anyway, check these out. If you haven't seen them, I doubt you haven't seen them. They're really good. Up next on my Blu-ray my movie update here is That Thing You Do, and if you haven't seen this, it was from 1996. It takes place in the 60s. I forget the main characters. They don't even say. But anyway, it's about a bunch of guys, and they have a pop band, almost like the Beatles or like the early Rolling Stones kind of stuff, like almost like pop, doo-wop, almost on the lines of the Beatles, not so much the Rolling Stones. But anyway, they start a band, and they have this big hit single called That Thing You Do, which is a really catchy, good song, and it's pretty amazing. It was just for that movie, but it sounds better than a lot of those 60s pop songs you hear. But anyway, Tom Hanks becomes their manager. He directed and wrote this movie as well. I mean, it's a really fun movie about, if you like music and you like seeing like people becoming famous and like the ups and downs of being a star and successful. It's a really good music movie. It's got some comedy to it. It's a really good one, guys. And I'm really glad they put it on Blu-ray. That thing you do. Up next, National Lampoon's Vacation. One of my favorite like fucking movies of the 80s period. Chevy Chase is probably my favorite movie with Chevy Chase in it. If you haven't seen Vacation, it's basically Chevy Chase and his family go on a road trip to I think it's Wally World. It's been a while since I've seen it. I gotta watch it again. But they're on this trip to this amusement park. All this crazy stuff happens, and it's just a great movie all around. I mean, I heard Ed Helms is going to star in the remake, which I'll go see. I mean, I'm down for that. I mean, I love Ed Helms. He played on The Office, and he's just a great actor. I just think he's funny. But anyway, Vacation. And they're also on this Vacation Blu-ray, there's a good documentary that I watched, and it's just really interesting. Tells you a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff. Anyway, so that's Vacation. Next up on the list, I don't think I have to explain this one too much. Dumb and Dumber. I saw this for like $7 at Target, so I picked it up. And I heard also now they're going to make a new Dumb and Dumber with Jeff Daniels and Jim Carrey, which I'm really excited for, because I mean they made the prequel back in 2003. A lot of people hated that movie. A lot of people did not like it, but I thought it was pretty funny. Then again, I was 15 at the time. I'm 25 now. And looking back, it wasn't that great, but that part with freaking Bob Saget, the shit, it's all over the wall. There's shit everywhere. That's like, that was the funniest fucking part of that movie, period. But anyway, Dumb and Dumber, fucking love this movie. Next up on the list, another classic, Tommy Boy. The late great Chris Farley plays in this, and David Spade. If you don't know the story, basically, you know, Tommy Boy, his dad passes away, spoiler, and he's left running the brake pad company, and he has to go on a road trip, this crazy road trip with David Spade, and they have to try to sell brake pads to companies and try to make the company get back to where it was. And it's a really funny movie. This is like probably in my top 20 favorite movies of all time. Fucking rest in peace, Chris Farley. Up next, I got this because I wanted The Wedding Singer and I like Going the Distance. It's a 3-pack of Drew Barrymore. Music and lyrics I never seen. It looks really bad. Hugh Grant's in it and I just don't like him. But I bought it basically for The Wedding Singer and Going the Distance, and I love Adam Sandler. I really want to start collecting more of his movies on Blu-ray. If you haven't seen The Wedding Singer, basically he's a wedding singer and he falls in love with Drew Barrymore. He has some issues with his ex-girlfriend. It's just a really great movie. And Going the Distance was a good one with Drew Barrymore and Justin Long as well. Just a good love story about long distance and stuff like that. But I picked this up for about, like, it says $19.99 on it, but I picked it up for like $14 because I had one of those trade and save things at Best Buy. Up next, I couldn't resist buying this one. It's Sandlot, and it's the 20th anniversary, and with this they give you some trading cards and all that. If you haven't seen The Sandlot, basically the plot of the movie is, it takes place in the 1960s, and it's just one of the best kids movies ever. You know, it's just about a bunch of kids playing baseball in this abandoned, like, field, basically, and, you know, there's this myth about this big monster dog called Hercules, and, you know, they're basically playing baseball the one day, and they run out of a ball because it goes over the fence, and then the kid goes back home, and he grabs a ball, and here it's signed by Babe Ruth, and it goes over the fence, and they have to go get it back, and there's just all this really cool stuff they do. They take like a Lego set or a Erector set or whatever it is. It's kind of like a Lego thing from the 60s, and they have to like bring a claw over the fence and stuff. But you know, for $10 I had to buy this. I really miss the 1990s, and like kids movies back then were just smarter, and they were meant for, like, you know, anybody could watch them. Like, as a 25-year-old man, like, I can watch The Sandlot now, and I still think it's a fucking great movie. Like, they just make all this crap now for kids. Like, they should really bring back some solid writing and, like, just stuff that the whole family could go see, you know? Anyway, if you haven't seen The Sandlot, definitely check that one out. Up next, I'm a big fan of this show, Workaholics, and I just picked up season 3 on Blu-ray. If you haven't seen Workaholics, it's about a bunch of dudes that work in an office, and that's not the whole point of the story. I mean, they're a bunch of potheads, and they smoke, and they get into all these wacky, fucking crazy adventures. One of my favorite episodes of this show is on this season, and they go back to college, and it's just so funny. It's just funny seeing them all, because, like, the one dude with the afro is trying to be, like, an actor, and then this, like, the one guy right there holding the keg, he's always, like, a muscle guy and shit, and he's, like, all funny, he's with a real Christian girl, and then their one buddy, he's always, like, real serious, and he's, like, trying to be a jock and stuff. It's fucking one of the best episodes ever of any show I've ever seen. It's so fucking hilarious. But if you haven't seen Workaholics, recommend definitely checking this one out. Alright guys, next up, Django Unchained. Probably one of the best movies of last year. I mean, I saw it in the beginning of this year, but it's probably one of my favorite movies. It's written and directed by Quentin Tarantino, starring Jamie Foxx and Christopher Waltz and Leonardo DiCaprio, which he is insane in this movie. Basically, it takes place way back in the day, I think like 1850s, whenever slavery was around, and, you know, Jamie Foxx is basically a slave, and Christopher Waltz, yeah, that's how I say it, Christopher Waltz character is a bounty hunter, and he frees Jamie Foxx because he needs help hunting somebody down. So he frees him, and then basically throughout the movie, Jamie Foxx becomes a bounty hunter. It's just a really good movie. I mean, it's really sad what happened back in those days. There's some really touching moments in this movie, like really crazy shit what slaves and black people had to go through back in those days, you know. It's really nuts. And if you're sensitive with the N-word a lot,